Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. We will wait a few minutes for others to join this session and then we will get started. A very good evening to all. It's my absolute pleasure to warmly welcome all of you to this specialized webinar, Sustainable Event Management, organized by Ceycert Private Limited. Today's webinar is a reflection of our commitment to that mission, raising awareness on sustainable event management as a powerful approach to integrate environmental, social, and economic consideration into event planning and decision making, helping the events industry reduce its environmental footprint and create more responsible and impactful events. We are honored to have such an enthusiastic and diverse audience joining us online today from industry professionals, undergraduates, sustainability enthusiasts, and in everyone passionate about responsible event management interested in advancing sustainable event practices. Before we proceed, I would like to make you aware on general housekeeping practices and few announcements to make smooth running of this program. Kindly keep your microphones muted unless you are invited to speak. So we will give you the opportunity to clarify your questions at the Q&A session, or if you have any clarification, please feel free to type in the Zoom chat box. All the questions received through the Google form also will be discussed during the end of the session. And kindly reserve your questions and your insightful thoughts, which are greatly contribute to keep this session interactive. Please kindly update your display name as your personal name with the organization that you represent. Now you can follow the example which now appeared in the Zoom chat box. During this online session, if you encounter any technical challenges or require assistance, please do not hesitate to contact us. So we will provide support to you. Your smooth participation is our priority, and we appreciate your cooperation in ensuring a seamless learning experience. Kindly keep your microphones muted unless you are invited to speak. Please note that only participants who have registered through the Google form will be eligible to join the YouTube live session or Zoom and receive the webinar certificate. Therefore, we kindly request you to join the webinar either through Zoom platform or via the YouTube link to avoid any inconvenience. We are pleased to announce that e-certificate of participation will be awarded to those who submit the feedback form, which you will find in the Zoom chat box at the end of the session. Your feedback is vital for us to continue delivering high-value programs. Now let's move on to the next segment. So I'm pleased to share insights on Ceycert Private Limited, your host for today's event. Let me begin with my introducing Ceycert Private Limited. Ceycert Private Limited is a leading certification body in Sri Lanka. We are proud to be recognized as a trusted partner in delivering internationally accredited certification services. At Ceycert, we value reliability. Our clients can trust us to deliver consistent, high-quality certification services that meet international standards. We also provide efficient and cost-effective solutions, tailoring our services to fit your organization's needs and making international certification more accessible without unnecessary expenses. At Ceycert, we are dedicated to provide a comprehensive range of internationally recognized certification services. So under ISO 17021 covers system certifications such as information security management systems, food safety management systems, quality management systems, environmental management systems, occupation health and safety management systems, energy management systems, education organization management systems, business continuity management systems, privacy information management systems, and hazard analysis and critical control points. Under ISO 17065, it covers product certifications like SL Organic, GMP for cosmetics, and GMP. In addition to that, Ceycert offers certifications for GHG or the greenhouse gas validation and verification. At Ceycert, we offer international lead implementer trainings, internal auditor trainings, international lead auditor training programs, tailored training programs, and free webinars for the community. Let me walk you through our certification process at Ceycert. The first stage is inquiry and application. The process begins when we receive an inquiry from a client. Then we send the application form. Once we receive the duly filled application form, we prepare and share a tailored quotation or proposal. Then After the proposal is accepted, we conduct an adequacy audit to review the client's documentation and ensure it meets the relevant standard requirements. After that, once adequacy audit is completed, we proceed to the on-site initial audit, which consists of two stages. They are stage 1 and stage 2 audit. The certification decision is determined by after the stage 2 audit. An independent certification committee reviews the audit findings. Then according to their decision, the certificate is issued. For system certifications, the certificate is valid for 3 years with annual surveillance audits to ensure continued compliance. For product certification, the certificate is valid for 1 year. At the end of each cycle, 3 years from system certifications and 1 year from product certifications, a recertification audit is required to renew the certification. Following the recertification audit, the audit findings are reviewed by our independent certification committee. Once it is approved, the certification is renewed 3 years for the system certification and 1 year for the product certification, allowing clients to maintain continuous certification with Ceycert. Engage with us through our social media page to take the first step towards ensuring your organization's future success. And there's an announcement that we have an upcoming training program on internal auditor training program for ISO 22000 2018 FSMS Food Safety Management System training program on 26th and 27th March 2026 at Renuka City Hotel. So you can join with us for this session. Thank you. Now it's my honor to introduce our distinguished resource person for today. It is my great pleasure to introduce our distinguished resource person for today's webinar, Dr. Sampath Wahala. Dr. Sampath Wahala is a senior lecturer, grade 1 in EcoBusiness Management at the Sabaragamuwa University of Sri Lanka, bringing over 25 years of academic, policy, and consultancy experience in sustainability, life cycle thinking, and the circular economy. He holds a PhD in biomass production and carbon sequestration, an MSc in forestry and environmental management, and a BSc in forestry and environmental science. Dr. Wahala's work integrates life cycle assessment, carbon and water footprinting, eco-labeling, industrial ecology, and sustainable business models. He has served as lead consultant for Asia's first certified water-neutral apparel company, contributed to Sri Lanka's national eco-labeling program, and acted as a technical expert for Green SL labeling system 2.0. He is an accredited GHG verifier under ISO 14064, ISO 14065, and ISO 17029. At the national level, he chaired the Governing Council of the Sri Lanka Accreditation Board, SLAB, from 2020 to 2024, shaping national policy on conformity assessment, sustainability standards, and verification. He also co-authored the guiding document for carbon footprint assessment in Sri Lanka and has long supported national policy frameworks for sustainability and circular economy practices. We are honored to have him with us today to share his expertise on sustainable event management and responsible event practices. Without further delay, let's dive into the heart of today's session. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Dr. Sampath Wahala. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, let me share my presentation slides. It's, Hope you can see the slides.
Yes, sir. We can see the slides.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening to you all. Thank you very much, Ceycert, inviting me for this session to share some of my thoughts. Probably would help you to understand the concept. And I got to know that there are a lot of participants joining in this Zoom platform and the live streaming. It shows the interest of this area. Let me begin. The context behind this discussion, the event management is a very prominent area now as an industry. And probably some of you, those who are joining here, are already engaged in event management, probably professionals. Sometimes those who are thinking of entering into this, the field of event management, and probably some are partially engaged, or there might be different perspective of joining this. The sustainability, I'm not going to touch upon on what is this concept of sustainability. So we know that since 1987, the Sustainable Development Goal, Sustainable Development definition came after the Brundtland Commission report. We know that we have to consume over, we have to utilize whatever the resources available for us without compromising future generations' expectations, so need and expectation to use the same, to have the same quality of life for human being and all other the components living in this earth. But however, it's already gone 30, closer to 40 years with the inception of the definition of sustainable development, when we probably aware that there was a globally accepted target. They wanted to, that global, all the economies wanted to come up with the common agreement on safeguarding the environment for future generations, starting with the Millennium Development Goals. They have come up with 7 goals targeting on that, and ended up in 2015, but however could not achieve certain thing. And then the Sustainable Development Goals, which we are very familiar, those who are interested in this area, we all are well aware about the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and there are certain closer to 200 targets already identified. But unfortunately, still the target set to achieve the goals is to 2026, 2030. But now we are in beginning of 2026. Very few more years to go. But however, we know that if you look at the statistics, the global statistics, we have not reached that. However, the term sustainability is very known to us. 10 years back, if we are talking about the sustainable term, yes, we might start with the definition of the sustainability and things, but now we know that we believe that we don't need to go in deep explanation of what is this sustainability. Now, very generally, this is it's evolved that people have to taking the consideration into when we look at the economy. Yes, those days globally, national economies, individually, we thought of, yes, our economy, it is separately economists and all people, those who are interested on that, they have focused on that to if we talk about the global economies of the countries, their set targets to achieve GDP, whatever, in terms of monetary in monetary terms. And then the social interest on social well-being and things, people are working on that areas, labor issues, labor laws, and child labor. So there are a lot of things. ILO, International Labour Organization, came into the picture, and they have started discussion on that. And countries have different aspect, different perspective on the human well-being, and also the naturalist. As the introduction, like I'm also coming from environment science background. So those days, yes, naturalists, environmentalists, they are working on safeguarding environment components, fauna, flora. Yes. So, however, those were with what we call the piecemeal approach. Separately, those components were discussed. And then with the Brundtland discussion, and they realized that, okay, fine, this is not gonna if you look at the global issues from those days, starting with the Minamata disease and other thing, people have realized that, okay, so we have to think in a different way. We have to look into environment, economic and social aspect together. With that approach, we came with the sustainability or the sustainable development, the concept. And with that, we use the sustainable term with different interpretation. So simply, I need to highlight why I'm taking little more time on explaining this title, especially on the sustainability component. If you look at the terminologies and if you look at the literature, if you look at the web components, communications, as we have access to a lot of information online, we might see that the sustainable or the green, now you can have the event management, yes, managing event. I'm not going to go through in deep explanation, the concept, principles on event management. But if you look at the sustainability component, sometimes the green event management, eco event management, there are different adjectives used in this. The sustainability, when you look at the sustainability, and what is the difference between the sustainable event management and the green event management? So the green component is more towards environment aspects. If you look at the sustainability component, if you see the sustainable component, the term, we had to focus with a balanced approach. We had to look into the environment aspect, we had to look into the economic aspect, and we have to look into the social and other aspect, the geopolitical aspect, and there are certain other components also now under discussion on the sustainable component. So therefore, when we are talking about this concept, however, we are focusing on these three aspects: economic, social, and environment aspect, but we might be a little bit biased towards environment aspect. But most of the case, the missing component would be that part. That's why they have highlighted. We'll be discussing over the new standard, ISO standard as well. So even though we have not much emphasized on in this discussion on economic and social aspect, these are also, those components are also part of this the discussion. Or if you look at the managing event in a sustainable way, we can have a different interpretation on that. If you have a event management as a business, sustaining that business is not the thing that what we are here discussing here. So we have to sustain the business, looking into those main three aspects: social, economic, and environment aspect. So with that, we can move on to some of the slides, and whatever the information that I'm sharing are some random thoughts. So we have received hundreds of questions, very good questions, and we have clustered to certain level, and probably we can have after this presentation, we can have a discussion on those, and then during that discussion, we might have more explanation or sharing knowledge, probably from your side as well on this topic. The event management, yes, This is not a definition. However, this is a combination of definition defining ISO standard and other the scholars. Now, when you look at the term event, yes, we see when you look at the natural phenomena happening in the world, in the Earth system, there are certain events, even rain, flooding, hurricanes. So we know that there are natural even disasters. Those are we consider as event, right? But in this case, in our discussion, what we are focusing on some of the activities with human engagement. So that's what we need to understand. But sometimes we know that when we talk about the sustainable event or event management, there are certain components. There are certain discussions, certain scholars actually being investigated and try to understand the the natural phenomena and how we can manage those events. For example, managing disaster. We know that disaster management, even in Sri Lanka and other part of the world, other countries, they have centers to manage disasters. So we know that the disasters, if it is a natural disaster, this is somewhat beyond our control. Tsunami, it's beyond our control. But the aftermath, the after effect, yes, we can manage to a certain level. So therefore, when you look at the event in a broader perspective, yes, we have to have that understanding as well. For today's discussion is to discuss how we can make events, conventional events that we as human organize or conduct, and how we can make that event more environmentally, socially, and economically sustainable. So if you look at some of the definition, and I want to highlight some of the terms, it has to be planned. And also now we use the term physical and digital or hybrid. We all know that before 2020, before the COVID and even in our ages also, yes, we have heard about the telecommuting term, telecommuting. You are working without commuting, going to another place. That was a kind of the term that used previously. But however, after the tsunami, after this COVID pandemic, yes, people have moved on to more physical and digital, virtual mode of working and hybrid. There are a lot of terms came into the picture. So therefore, even in the ISO definition and other scholars, when you talk about the event, yes, they have included that aspect as well. Otherwise, if you look at the previous definition and things, yes, it's more focused on to planned physical activities. Even the word physical is not included, planned activities. But however, now we are talking about when we are talking about the event, yes, it has to be, it's a planned physical or digital or hybrid gathering. Yes, again, I need to highlight that the human intervention is there. When you look at the ISO standard, if you are going to establish a management system to manage event in a sustainable way, that's a critical component because we are dealing with people, human, the gatherings. With respect to time and place where an experience is created and the message is communicated. Now, in an event, what we do is it's kind of a gathering in a particular time period. It's not, but it's a continuous process. We are gathering in an office, in a university. We are going, the students, we are going as students joining lectures and things, the continuous process. Joining a lecture is not an event. It's a continuous process. So, but when you look at the event, say yes, it's limited to a certain time period. It can be frequently happen. So this is very important when we talk about the development of event management system in an organization. So and also there should be some kind of experience to be shared, communicated. That experience can be even the musical event or any kind of thing, right? So if you go further, event sometimes by their nature, high profile. That means event can be in the size, it's very large, and even a very small one. Meeting with few people or having a party or organizing a birthday party or whatever to make the national and global uh, event. Yes, there's no uh, limitation for the size. Again, for the gathering, because as I mentioned previously, to have an event, we have people, right? High profile and transient, it's not continuously happen. Short time, it's finished. And with the event, now when you look at the sustainability, or if it is a green event management, you always think that okay, fine, there's an issue. So what we are trying to do is to minimize or mitigate those environment issues. In this particular case, event can be with positive and negative, or the positives as well. Now, if you get this, I have not mentioned here. This is the second part is actually from ISO. The ISO, when they use the term in the ISO documents, actually there are a lot of consideration, right? Even the using of word and things. However, now you see the arrangement with the both positive and negative social, economic, and environment impacts. With an event, you can have positive impacts. Yes, giving experience to someone, uh, it's a positive impact. And we have to consider that also. We have to think of enhancing those things. And in the sustainable event management, what we try to do is enhancing those and to mitigate negative impact for society, economy, and environment. So basically, when you talk about the event, yes, it has to be a plan, can be a physical or hybrid or something. And importantly, it has to be with the people's engagement, right? Event can have um, whatever the positives or negative consequences, right? Uh, these are some of the information taken randomly. If you look at global event industry market, it's, by 2026, 2.33 trillion of worth of market. And especially we see that the Asia Pacific region, which is our region, is having 13% of growth of this industry. And those who are joining or having experience in the tourism industry, yes, MICE and other sectors are now emerging. Now, if you look at these graphs, you can see just after 2020, you see that after 29, this is actually global, some information. If you look at this 2020, we all are very familiar with this COVID pandemic. It's a global situation that we have faced. But even that, the volume in the 2020 is also somewhat higher because it's mainly with the hybrid. The people have stopped restricted to physical location most of the time. But the activities, events, it's been actually, or the gathering in the virtual or say, hybrid mode, it's been somewhat increased that time. And that might be the reason to see somewhat higher increase. Now we know that even now we are using the Zoom platform. We haven't heard about this type of platform previously. So those type of market actually emerge during that, and then we see the continuous increasing trend in this event industry. Those who are thinking of entering into this industry, yes, there are a lot of opportunities as in the service sector. Yes, however, the growth is more from Europe, the EU. They have more events compared with other part of the world, and the regional share, yes, Asia Pacific region, some of the global event to certain extent, because as we know that cultural and other kind of significance are there to gather people somewhat frequently. And also, if you categorize, if you look at some of the typologies of these event and the volumes in generally, this actually from 2024 information, corporate events and seminars have the more portion from total event, total volume of the industry. In the sports, the music concerts, and some other festivals and exhibition, conference, and things. And there are certain other kind of gatherings. Now you can see here, if you look at the monetary terms, from the monetary terms, music, concerts, corporate event and seminars, gathering, and the investment. Yeah, the putting money on the organizing those is somewhat high. And also, if you look at the sports, now we are familiar these days, the cricket, football, Olympics, Paralympics, Winter Olympics. So those are areas where people gather the most, and the moving of the flowing of a large amount of money on these as industries. Right? And also, this is a very random one. If you look at the institutional arrangement for these International Association of Event Host, and there are certain other institutions, the arrangements or gatherings, uh, 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 forums, even the sustainable event manual. There are a lot of formal gatherings, associations being established. That also gives you a good idea on this is as an industry, even though we have not highlighted much on this event management as an industry. This is actually having very well developed and established, and also developing industry sector. Now, if you look at this type of image, we don't need to explain much. We can understand that this is actually after event situation, just after the event situation. Somewhere we can understand that this is after a musical show or something. You can see the digital wall, digital screens, and the sound systems hanging, and it's the nice looking stage, and you can see a lot of garbage, waste scattered everywhere. So this is why we need to think of making this event. Can we do something to make this event where, as we need to think about environment, to address environment issues? Even though I have not mentioned and sensitized you about environment issues, we don't need to highlight those. We are very well aware about the climate related issues. And we are very well aware about the air quality related other issues, air pollution related issues. We are very well aware about the solid waste related issues, land pollution, and ocean pollution, the plastic issue. So there are a lot of other consequences, and the chemical release, the hazardous chemical related issues. There are a lot of other issues, and also when you look at the biological system, biodiversity loss, those are the key issues, even the water scarcity, water pollution. So those are some of the key environment issues. Now, if you just look at this image, we can see that the issue is related with the land pollution, the waste, garbage, scenic beauty, issues to the scenic beauty, and also if we go little in deep, now you can see uh, probably we can see some of the single-use plastic. The issue is the accumulation of microplastic will create some of the issues for the ecosystem. So likewise, we can see the lot of interconnected environment consequences to go beyond these material that what we have wasted at once to produce these. Actually, we have to invest, spend a lot of resources, and with that you are creating a lot of environment issues, even the making of plastic or making of a tin can beverage. So there are certain hidden environment burden behind this. So that we need to understand upstream environment burden, and what we see at the moment is the exact just after, which is somewhat only the scenic issue, but sometimes immediate environment issues. But however, there can be, obviously, there will be afterward environment issues, land pollution, water contamination. There are a lot of things can be happen. So if you map out all these environment issues, it's huge. If you take only climate impact, there are a lot of things, but we have wasted here, the use of electricity, whatever. But however, there's a purpose of this type of events. We cannot compromise the people's the expectation of those things. So therefore, what we can do is if we can identify, understand the economic consequences, if we can try to minimize those economic consequences and the social impact if it is available. So that what we need to look into. So if you look at some of the numbers, these are actually very random. The broader numbers, this is actually specifically the finding from UK context. This is from 2014. With all 1 million of musical festivals in a year. Waste generation, 23,500 tons of waste annually. Some are recycle, majority is landfill. If it is recycle, yes, we can think of reduction of environment burden, putting on the land. If it is a waste, but still we see the majority, even Sri Lankan context also the same. The majority of waste generated going in with landfill. Fuel use for this, in this particular case, only a musical festival. You can remember we have uh, seen some of the type of the different types of the industries sectors. This is only for musical festival, the 5 million liters, and average liter of diesel use at the UK Music Festival, 0.6 liters per person per day. So if you look at the number, the volume of engagement of individual, it's huge, right? So if you look at the environment footprint, now the term footprint is to measure or to quantify the environment burden of something. So this again, this is something the broader estimates of conference. Yes, purpose is knowledge, sharing knowledge or something. Waste per day is about 1.89 kilograms according to that study, out of which end up with the landfill, creating environment or the impact to land, the water, and to with some releases to the atmosphere and or to the biodiversity losses. So there are certain other consequences associated with those. And also use of electricity, landfilling, and these type of things also associated with that. So it's very generic, the broader environment footprints. Now, if we can go in deep, but I'm not going to go through uh, each and everything. We'll be sharing those slides, and I have included some of the QR. You can go to the relevant websites and get more information on that. So no worry about the numbers. Now I need to highlight certain things. Carbon footprint is the common uh, measure of common unit of measure of climate impact. If you know the carbon footprint, that means the contribution to the climate impact. This is with some of the studies. Typical 3-day conference with 1,000 attendees can produce approximately 530 metric tons of carbon dioxide. More contribution from travels. Likewise, there are environmental impact that we can quantify, right? So this is on the climate-related impact, and this is actually the partitioning of this climate impact. Majority of the conference, the impact is coming from the travel, moving people from one place to another place. Air or the land transportation modes, and that is a majority. Even though if you look at some of the studies, global average values are somewhat similar to these, right? The waste generation, you can see here it's 0, but this is significantly. It cannot be 0, but however there can be decimal values. So there are different estimate, and if you look at the waste generation, as I mentioned previously, different type of material use. We know that we all are familiar with the single-use plastic. Sometimes we use material to uh, uh, the decorations. Yes, we all need. If you can cut down all these, we can reduce the environment burden. But if you what we have to do is we need to find some of the alternatives. And food waste, yes, food is the critical component in an event engaging, even though the money spent is from the participants. But if you look at the total impact of an event, it's having a significant the contribution from those. Well, use water consumption. Yes, even if it is a large event, putting a lot of pressure on the water resources. Like for example, if you look at the Olympic event like Olympic, even though it's uh, sometimes put a lot of pressure on local resources. So those are some of the issues related to some of the events. And also land use infrastructure, some are empty structures, and if it is for the large event, even sometimes we know that the, if we take the same example like Olympic, we need to build some of the infrastructure. The construction activities, some are temporary. So then most of the case you come up with the more with more uh, resources, probably non-renewable resources to build up certain structures. And after the event, there's zero use of those structures. But however, there are certain positive things now it's happening, even though if we then here, so even the previous Olympics, Japan, they have taken some of the approaches to build their stadium with the renewable materials, and even the last few years back, the world soccer, the football, Cup of the World Soccer, they have actually developed semi-permanent structures with low impact materials. So things are happening here, happening around the world. Now, however, the impact is there with the land use and also the infrastructure development. Now, if you look at the second point, the hotel construction for event, yes, construction. If you look at the hospitality industry, yes, we have a permanent structures continue. If you look at the definition, uh, having a hotel and having a regular function in that particular hotel or the accommodation unit is not a part of the event. However, there can be some other event, micro level event that we can categorize when we look at the event management. However, what we are discussing here is some of the structures developed. World Cups, Olympics, and people develop temporary structures or to support mega events. And in that structures, that construction activities will put sometimes, now in this case, what we call the embedded in the energy emission or the carbon mean, yes, associated emission related to these construction activities with the associated emission or the emission associated with the material that they use somewhat higher, because sometimes the end use after the event, the main use is actually the purpose of building is not uh, the what we expect to continue. But how, and also another thing that the pressure, putting additional pressure for the local water resources and energy consumption is some of the change, some of the issues. And in addition to that, actually I have taken one of random photograph taken by myself, which is very recently happened at our university. Musical show, you can see the crowd. And what I need to highlight is even any of the event, most of the event, not only for these type of thing, there are a lot of other associated impact, especially related to material use and especially on the production materials, scenic designs, and sometimes custom build single-use material that we use, props, backdrops, and some of the structures. Those are custom built with a lot of material inputs, which might most of the materials or the structures with the single use. So use of timber, plywood, and there are different other materials. So end up with without any use. Yes, even though there are certain possibilities to upcycle those type of things, those are the those are the areas where we can think of if we are going to make this event more sustainable. And also electronics and AV equipment production, the technologies. And I need to highlight that this is actually recording for television show. So behind I also there at that time, so they have used more than 10 cameras and the mixers, the electricity for those are very huge, sound mixing and other things. Even though we see a one event, behind that there are a lot of other resource use. If it's a mega uh, event, even now it's very popular with the digital screen and things. Yes, obviously that will reduce some of the single-use material use. But however, the use of electricity, and other things, even the electronic waste generation, yes, those are some of the environment-related issues or some of the causes for environment issues. And addition to that, yes, when you construction and other things, and you can see structure and the number of people. This again, the musical event. This is actually not confined to these. Any kind of event we can see in a different level of impact of the use of material that will create, even though we don't see an impact here, but there are certain impact associated with these. And even I just need to highlight the one point here. Yes, if you think of having virtual events, right? Now you can see with this photograph image, they are experiencing something virtually, but however, locating in the place, obviously will cut down some use of material and the transportation and other associated impact. But however, use of electricity and e-waste, generation of e-waste, and the electricity and even the water use for the servers or the central mega servers, providing internet and other things, it's huge. And also we have done some study and there are common studies. If you use Google search, probably the one search of word contributing to few grams of climate change, the greenhouse gases released to the atmosphere. The impact, even though we don't see any impact, even now you all are engaging in this virtual meeting. Yes, if it is 100 or 200, 300 people gathering in one place, yes, travel-related emission and other associated emissions or the impact are higher. As we are in the virtual mode of this, we cannot say that our impact is zero. No, we are utilizing electricity. We are not only the electricity, even the behind, as we are connected with the internet. Yes, there are to communicate to run these those servers. It's having a lot of they are consuming a lot of energy and associated the other resources like water, even though even the water also used for run those servers and things, right? Even though we are using a laptop, yes, it's a the, if you look at the impact behind manufacturing of this laptop, even the mobile device, yes, there's a lot of environment burden behind that. And if you what we do is we depreciate using these, and if you add the depreciation value for this event, if you are going to estimate the impact of this today's virtual meeting, and I would recommend Ceycert people to at least we can calculate the climate change impact or in terms of carbon footprint of this event by looking at some of the secondary data, use time and other things. And in that case, as I'm using my laptop, we can actually amortize the emission and we can allocate some of the emission for manufacturing of this laptop for the use of this particular 2-hour session. So likewise, if you are thinking of estimating the quantifying the impact, we have to consider all. I need to highlight that even though if we consider it this as a virtual event, okay, fine, so impact the impact zero, no. So there can be associated impact. The food and beverages, yes, it's obvious one. It's a mega event. We know that in our Sri Lankan weddings, and those who are joining from hospitality industry, they know that the buffet, if you set up a buffet, what would be the waste that we generate compared with the a la carte. Or so there are a lot of things even with the event associated with the event, and also that is end up with creating a burn. Now the issue with this, now we all know that in the local authorities, in our household, we generate waste. And to certain level, we have a system in place to manage those waste. But if it is an event, a mega event, these type of generation are beyond the normal generation of waste, and the handling of this waste is somewhat critical. So those are some of the issues when we need to think of uh, uh, if you're thinking of managing this event in a more sustainable way. And also social impact. Yes, there are certain positive social impacts. The networking, gathering, we know that even during the COVID period, we have realized that the people's human, we are actually social animal, right? We need the interactions. So therefore, as we know, by the definition, event is to gather people. Having more physical interactions, physical uh, connection, yes, it's boosting people's the well-being to a certain level. That's why now, if you look at the musical shows, even the same music, the same song, we can ask using a electrical device, with the YouTube or any other the media. But why people are gathering, going to witness or listen, enjoy the live shows? So this is human behavior. So, however, we have to look into that aspect. We have to look into uh, to enhance those aspect of the social component, social the well-being, and also there can be negative impact. We know that the uh, mixing people, the different communities, clashes for resources or clashes for any other things, different behaviors also create some of the negative impacts. So we can discuss especially the behavioral changes. There can be some of the positives and also there can be some of the negatives. So those impacts also there, the positive and negative as well. Uh, Now, then, if you look at the sustainable event management, we know that events, again, uh, there are thousands of books published in sustainable event management. If you search in the Google, there are a lot of scholar articles and the books being published from different authors and for different perspectives, and we see that some of them uh, 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 knowledge materials being produced, developed for tourism sector, hospitality sector, some for regional activities. There are a lot of information. I have not actually taken all the information here. Probably later on, I can share some of the information or the relevant material if I have, if you are interested. This is again, if you are going find a definition, we don't need to confine to one particular definition. Even ISO is not defined what is sustainable event management, but they have highlighted this is again the practical planning, organizing, and executing events in a manner that minimize negative environment impact by promoting positive social and economic outcomes. So that's the important thing. So we try to minimize the negative environment impact and we try to promote positive social and economic outcomes. And it integrates responsible resource use, waste reduction, social inclusion, community engagement uh, from the entire life cycle of the event, starting with the conception of the idea, the planning stage, pre-planning stage, execution of the event, and the post-event activities, right? The feedback, monitoring, and those things. If you look at an event, so we have to think of sustainability, how we can incorporate sustainability for all these stages of the life cycle of an event, right? If we take some of the random uh, examples, few random examples, some are from Sri Lankan context, and there are hundreds of uh, nice examples on the on at- attempting to manage event more environment and sustainably or sustainable way. Now I need to give some of the highlights on certain cases. Now you see here the Carbon Neutral Symposium on Sustainable Tourism highlights urgent need for whatever the violation. So I need to highlight here the Carbon Neutral Symposium. Carbon neutrality is a concept. There are certain contradictory argument discussions on that. However, this is to address the climate change impact, the balancing out. Carbon neutral symposium, yes, a gathering of people, knowledge sharing on different perspectives. There can be emissions, the impact to the climate change. Use of electricity will release emission from generation of electricity. Transportation, air transportation or land transportation, you have to burn fuel, and then associated emission will create, will enhance climate change impact. Even though if we can reduce to certain level, we cannot mean for any event. As I mentioned previously, even this virtual meeting, we cannot eliminate our impact, but we can minimize. Now, in that particular case, what they have done was they have minimized their carbon footprint or the greenhouse gas emission due to certain activities, replacing some of the material and minimizing their transportation, right? And however, the rest or the residual amount, because they cannot make complete uh, emission zero. So whatever the residue amount, actually they have offsetted by contributing or supporting financially probably to a project where the carbon sequestration or the carbon absorption or the climate mitigation project. So those are accepted kind of a financial model where we can think of, at least if we are committing to make activities or to reduce the mitigated impact. In this case, what we need to understand is this is actually to make it neutral. They cannot do, they have to minimize to certain level, but the residue impact can be offset or compensate by supporting a project even somewhere else. So that is the concept behind that. And also here, there's another event happened in uh, uh, Lanka General Convocation. So again, they have claimed that this is the world's carbon emission. Just give a minute to connect my laptop to it. Yes, sorry. I'll keep my video off for a moment. During the discussion, I will switch on my video. So this is also actually this came as the very first presidential campaign, carbon zero presidential campaign. This actually handing over of third-party verified certification for that campaign. So, and also this is again another event. Now you see highlighted only the climate impact. This is in Sri Lanka as one of the location house. They have had event which low carbon event. They have actually engaged with all the participants to reduce their transport emission by engaging, encouraging them to have carpooling and those type of thing, and whatever the props and the backdrops with the recycle or the upcycle materials. So like they have taken approaches, and also they have highlighted only the climate change impact. And this is actually, I need to, this is a very nice case study to understand, as if you can remember, when I explained about the event, the size, even if it is a mega event, we cannot compromise. We cannot say that, okay, fine, no event would be the best approach to make environment friendly. But other aspects, we cannot compromise the basic or the main purpose of those events that we need to understand. So this is probably you might aware about this. Coldplay is a music, the group. There are certain other cases as well, but I'm just taking one case because actually I got very, I have not participated this. Recently there was a show in Dubai. One of my colleagues participated and given real the information on that, and then I go through the web content and realize that yes, it's really interesting to study. They have done good work. You can go to their website. Probably I will share that website, and then I have not taken created slides, but I need to explain certain thing using their websites. However, I will share these slides, and then you can, if you're interested, you can go through. Some are very technical approach that they have taken. You need commitment, serious commitment when you are thinking of minimizing environment impact. Doing nothing would be the best. But however, in this type of situation or this type of why we need uh, uh, incorporating sustainability is, yes, we need to continue those. We cannot go away with this type of thing, right? If it is, as we are thinking of, okay, we are really environment friendly and thing, so then we have to stop everything. No, that is not required, necessary. Even that will not happen. And we all know that these days, even if you go to the website, Facebook and things, there are a lot of people are creating uh, some other thing, war is going on, using heavy equipment, creating a lot of environment issue and social issue and economic losses. That's something different story. But however, so we have to keep going on thinking on these different types of things. In future, probably, I don't know, people will uh, take into consideration on even the war to make it something more environment friendly. We see some of the approaches, and people have studied the environment impact of these type of thing and the social and economic losses. Social and economic losses are, yes, obvious. The environment impact, long-term and short-term environment impact, now being quantified to a certain extent. At the moment, those are information only. But however, in future, who knows, people's mind will change. They will think of those type of things. Event, even the musical events or even the formula cars, formula race, yes, there are certain cases you can search in the web. People have attempted, when there's a very recent inquiry from the particular event organizers from Dubai to may support their event Formula car event environment friendly, looking at the health and safety aspect, the quality aspect, environment aspect, and the social aspect. So things are happening. People are in that we see the interest from these type of organizers, at least to uh, address or to get the competitive advantage of having them. That's fine. Even if they need to really need this sustainability uh, initiatives to market their whatever the product or event or in this particular band, that's fine. As long as they do some kind of contribution commitment to make their event more environment friendly. And ultimately, yes, they also win, environment also win. Now you can go to the last three, the 24th emission targets. This is a world tour. Actually, they have taken some of the serious initiatives. If I may explain one thing, you know that the air transportation is the key, right? With the team and the equipment, it's huge amount of transportation requirement is there. If you look at the emission, it's huge. Now, at the moment, even the aviation industry is estimating their emissions and actually been delayed due to COVID. Probably 26 onwards, aeroplane carriers, they have to make their uh, 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 aeroplane, the transport carbon neutral. Actually, there's international civil aviation authorities. There's a regulation. Probably they will look into that approach, and with that, there's a push to reduce the aviation fuels emission. Now, there's a concept, if you can search about the sustainable aviation fuels with the less emission and sustainable aviation fuels now being actually produced. And what they do is they have used as much as possible of sustainable aviation fuels, and they have cut down as much as possible of transportation of their goods and other things, right? So you can get those information if you're interested on that. Anything's possible. We don't need to compromise the event. At least looking at the baseline without doing these initiatives, impact, what would the impact? And if you can commit to a certain level, and at least you can contribute some but to reduce the environmental impact. Now, this is actually their statement. When we first announced the music of the Spear in 2021, actually at that time they have the very first pledge. They wanted to reduce their direct carbon emission, direct emission. That means their transportation or the direct combustion related emission by 50%, at least 50%. They have actually taken initiatives, and also they have actually reduced by 2059 the than the targeted. And also one of the key thing that they do is for every ticket they plant one tree somewhere. That means that they are not going to plant trees, but they have a project, they invest or that they finance some of the projects to have these plantations. And they consider some of the carbon offsets to make their emissions balance out. So likewise, they have taken some of the initiatives. If you look at, there's another random things, festivals, we can quantify the emissions amount, and we can think of, we can estimate the amount that we can reduce by doing certain initiatives. Some of the random thing that I need to highlight. Now the technology or the technology is supporting most of the sustainable initiatives, but however, we had to have a balanced approach. Even though with the technology, there are certain the endowment issues. This actually, you can search, a lot of informations are available. It's a very old technology, the PC technology with the compressed uh, items, you can create certain amount of electricity. And these dancing floors being developed, people are when they dance, the dancing floor will generate electricity. Actually, this is to demonstrate when the people are dancing and the electricity is generated. And these type of thing actually been established. We know that some of the universities, not in Sri Lanka, the walkways, they have these the breezy plates, and the people are moving, walking, then the electricity generated and stored. But however, not again, not 100% environment friendly. Now, what could be the end of use of these the material? Yes, to certain level, they can recover some of the material without sending them into the open dump or the land filling. However, what we can hear, what we can do here is, what we can see here is the reduce the dependency on the
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. We can't hear you.
It's okay. Tama. Yes. Sure. Uh, Again, another random example, Olympics. Uh, there are a lot of initiatives taken the last just after the COVID, the Japanese, and they have taken a lot of initiatives at that time to reduce especially the environment impact. Their main focus was to use upcycle material and to minimize the material related impact. So, in partnering with the Green Sports Alliance, they have taken some of the issues, the initiatives, and you can go to this Green Sports Alliance. They have a guidelines developed how to make sports more environment friendly. To share one experience, the one thing, even yes, even though there are a lot of discussion about the Sri Lanka cricket, there was a discussion to develop Sri Lanka's cricket activities more environment friendly, targeting to ESG, environment, social, and governance. Now they have also taken into consideration to move forward with those type of initiatives. Actually, this is probably you are familiar with all the medals prepared for Olympic. I think this is I can remember the year, are from extracted materials from electronic or the e-waste. Silver, bronze, and gold medals being developed and produced with the extracted material from discarded electronic devices. So that's another story, and there are a lot of other the avenues if you're thinking of making the sports more environment friendly. Transportation can replace with the different modes, and this is actually one example in Sri Lanka. In the just to give you a Sri Lankan perspective on something, carbon neutral travels from workers to us, and even there are certain other extreme approaches that we can take. This is actually not directly relevant to the event, but the technology, the concepts available. This is actually from Sri Lankan, the Singapore product, drinking water. Water actually purified from municipal sewer to the level of drinking water to address the technologies available to address some of the issues. And even this is organic photovoltaic, even electricity can be generated with the fabric, right? And hydrogen fuel cell is another the emerging area. Now you can see the logo behind the shell, so leading fossil fuel manufacturers. Then even they have diversified their business towards making more environment-friendly fuel, the hydrogen fuel, which is if you burn hydrogen with oxygen, can get the energy and the byproduct would be water. So the technology is, we need the technology. Problem is to have storage facilities. But however, the 15 years back, it's only the concept. 15 to 20 years back, now it's commercially available in some of the countries. And even the waste, there are solutions. This is actually, it's again a random picture. Now we know that the single-use alternative for single-use plastic, one of the key polluter in the large mega events, most of the cases. This is actually edible cup, edible, not biodegradable, whatever. This is edible. You can drink and then you can eat. So things are available, and certifications, different types of certification available to make a waste minimize. So you need to commit to certain level. Even this type of certificate can be applied for the event as well. And moving forward, even there's another approaches in the plastic, the single, we know the issue with the plastic, and you can come up with the event with the zero plastic. Even though there are certain components of plastic, you can calculate the plastic footprint, and you can offset plastic footprint by contributing to plastic reduction initiatives, which is actually verified approach. There are very well developed standards available, and you can make it even zero waste plastic event. Yes, moving forward, I'll be touch upon on the standardized approach on making event more environment friendly. ISO is, there are different standards developed, or the different, rather than standard, guidelines developed in a different context. But what I'm going to give you a broader idea on one of the standards, which is ISO 20121. It's a recent issue, the 2024 standard, ISO standard for sustainable event management, or the event management sustainability event management system. Now, events are, there are a lot of, if you are thinking, if I put into the main components on the standard, however, I have included some of the main slides as well. This ISO standard is for event sustainability management system, develop an event sustainability management system, assuming that you are aware about some of the management system standard. At the beginning, Ceycert, they have introduced their the product or the service portfolio. They are offering some of the certification for 14,001 and other areas. If you take 14,001, which is for third-party recognition for environment management system, implementation of environment management system for an organization. So this 21,021 standard is also based on the same type of structure, what we call in technically, they follow the Annex Excel. Most of the system certifications, the system standards, management system standards are now aligned with some of the key components, similar to the component or the structure of the standard or the framework is similar for 9001, which is for quality management system, 14,001, which is for environment management system, and even 45,001, which is for occupational health and safety management. So likewise, this event sustainable management system is also a framework to incorporate in an organization. This is actually applicable for event organizers, or any organization, those who are willing to do events in a sustainable way and also to get the recognition. This can be used for third-party verification, even to come up with a self-declaration. This is also again in line with the Plan, Do, Check Act or the PDCA cycle, the planning of the event at the initial stage of the event uh, management cycle, then the execution, and we have to set some of the targets to minimize the impact of the particular event, engaging all the stakeholders, and then the improve. This is actually continuous process. I need to make it clear, as at the very beginning when I explain about the event, this actually we consider this event as a one-time activity. Going through a process, yes, but you can have a frequently happen or not happen, but however, to get the certification or recognition as this event is sustainably managed, you have to have a kind system with the people or with the entity, those who are performing this event or contributing or doing this event. So therefore, even though the event is one-off, the system should be in place. Now, if we take the Coldplay people, they have actually not at the moment certified as ISO 21221 standard, but they are having a very good system in place to monitor their emissions, to monitor their waste, and to come up with initiatives to reduce. And they have the commitment from the top level, the team level, team management level. So likewise, they have a system in place. Event is happening in different places, but they have a system in place that in their organization or the event managers to perform that task. So similar to that, even the hotels, right? Even the large, even the small and medium scale hotel, they can perform, they can have an event if they are interested to get the recognition and as or the certification as 21221 event management sustainable event management system certification. Yes, they can perform. Even a wedding can be certified, or there are 3 levels: self-declaration, also second party, and the third party also applicable. So the basic structure is similar to other management system standard. I'm not going to go through clause by clause, but however, there are basic principles there with the event management standard. The stewardship, so they have to share responsibility, because this is very important as an event. When you look at the event, if you are thinking of implementing the standard, yes, you have to do the context analysis of the event, not the organization. Including organization and looking at the event, they have to analyze the context. Who are the stakeholders? What are they interested? What are the benefit? What are the environment impact due to this event? And what would be the consequences of environment for the stakeholders likewise? So we have to do the context analysis. And in this case, the stewardship is there's a shared responsibility. Now, for example, if we take the large or the mega newspaper show, if you need to make a sustainable event, if you are going to go through to obtain this certification for the event managers or the entity that they are organizing such event. So they have to deal with the people, right? So the people joining the event is also part of the system. So therefore, the responsibility should be delegated for them as well, or to have a system to minimize, mitigate the impact created by the participants. Right? So if you look at the list of stakeholders, yes, starting with the event managers, event management people, suppliers, even the regulators, and the main component is the participants of the event. Should be incorporated in that to share. That's why the stewardship has to be shared as responsibility on this. And also the inclusion, ensuring fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all interested parties. Yes, they have to engage all the interested parties. This is something bit complex. And during the analysis of the event, you have to understand, and there are certain guidelines given to the complexity of the event and the engagement of stakeholders. Right? If it is a formula race or the rally, if you are going to make that event more environment friendly, or to certify that particular event as sustainable event management under 2121. Yes, you have to look into all the stakeholders engaging in that, and you have to include all the participants or the community, so the surrounding community or the other facilitators, so everybody. And also the integrity, and also there are certain components like anti-corruption. These are some of the social and the governance related things, the transparency, the procurement approaches. So everything that we have to consider. And the last principle is mainly the transparency. We have to communicate the success areas and the improvement areas. These are the key pillars or the principles in this standard. And if you look at this, actually a bit technical. When you look at the analysis of the impact, environment, social, or economic impact, we have to identify impact on the organization. That means outside in. When we develop what would be the impact to the organization if they are going to organize an event, what would be the impact to this organization? That means the event itself. And what would be the impact to the world or outside communities, the environment or the economy? So you have to map all these, looking at the environment, the social, and the economic aspect. So this is actually should be done at the very first stage. And wider ecosystem, there are a lot of stakeholders. We need to identify stakeholders, the workforce, regulatory bodies, local communities, any vulnerable people. Likewise, you have to identify, and you have to have a policy from the top down organization. Even if you're going to set up this environment management, the sustainable event management system, there should be an entity that responsible for this. Event managers or any other organization or a company, even a hotel, those who are planning to offer sustainable events, like the conferences, weddings, or parties, or whatever. So there should be an entity. That's one of the key requirements. There should be, if they're going forward with the third-party verification to verify and to take the responsibility, there should be a legal entity. So therefore, there should be a legal entity established in this to go ahead with the process. That's why even event management companies, if it is a legal entity, yes, they can apply for. They can go ahead with setting up the system in line with the standard. Measurable, we have to set objectives. Once we identify the areas, impact areas, to identify objectives to minimize the negative impact if available. If you identify any positive things to enhance, you have to set objectives. The objective should be smart. That means specific, measurable, achievable, the reasonable, and the time bound, which is smart, and then we can monitor. And you have to have action plan for that. And the team competencies, team training, those are some of the areas where we need to consider. And the in-house core team should be there in the event management, and engagement of other stakeholders are through with them. So they are the people to run the system, right? Especially in here, this is also critical, similar to environment management system. You have to look into upstream suppliers, even the downstream, up to the use of the particular product, the same as to this event management. So you have to look into upstream. There must be different suppliers, sound producers, if it is a musical show or in a conference. There are different parties to supply different materials or different services. So you have to have a proper partnership with them. And even during the event, there should be something operational control systems. We need to identify the risk in operations, even any event. What would be the fire? What would be the issue with any other situation, even the social conflict? So all these we need to identify, and you have to come up with the options to looking at the risk to identify these situations. So basically, the operational control is important to address the unpredictable situation. Yes, measurements with the planning stages. If you set targets, you have to have measurements on certain things. For example, if it is waste, what would be the waste diversion without sending out to landfilling? That's why you can incorporate a certain guidance standards related to zero waste to landfill. That's why I have not mentioned here. When you look at the ISO standard, they have listed in the standard, they have listed almost all the relevant environment related and social related standards as a guidance document. You can use any of thing. For example, if you are thinking of incorporating a climate consideration, yes, there are certain standard, climate neutrality, ISO 14068 standard, or organization related emission, even 14001, with the material flow analysis related one, even the sustainable development related, because all the activities should be linked with the sustainable development goals itself, right? Not only for climate, but also for other areas of interest. Health and compliances. Right? So again, we need to have, even though it's a one-time, one-off event, as you manage those events, for you, the event management company or the entity offering these type of events or conducting these type of event, that might not be the one and last event. Even though it's a one and only event, if you are thinking of going forward with setting up the system or getting the recognition in line with in accordance with ISO 20001, yes, you have to have a proper process. You have to have objectives, you have to implement those things, you have to internally review that, you have to take many review. Even though if you conclude one event, the post-event monitoring, there can be some of the areas to be improvement. And then if you are conducting another event, and then you have to incorporate that. So likewise, you have to have a plan to continual improvement. And this is also, if it is a third-party verification or if you're going to get the third-party recognition, non-conformers should be there. So then you have to identify the root causes as similar to the other management system standards. You have to come up with the corrective actions, and then you can, in the audit terms, you can clear those non-conformities if you are going to go with third-party verification. The continuous improvement, continual improvement is very essential. Now, you might think that, okay, fine, if what would be the impact and the event is just for one time. In such situation, yes, to issue the certification for that one time. But however, you have to have a system in place, and you have to identify the approaches to continual improvement of the environment performance, social performance, and the economic performance associated with that particular event. Yes, environment system, ESMS. Yes, we have to look into the tangible results, and some are actually intangible results that what we can gain with the continual improvement. Some are actually, yes, some structures that we need to come up with, even the temporary. Sometimes the events are continually happening, then you can think of having some kind of a hard structures to continue that. And as I mentioned previously, if you are claiming a conformity, and if you are thinking of communicating the success as a certified event, yes, they can demonstrate through self-declaration. This standard also highlighted that this standard is applicable for self-declaration. That means the company or the entity can declare that they are event sustainable in line with this standard. For that, actually, they have to develop a system in place. As these are voluntary engagement, yes, you can come up with the first party of the self-declaration. However, the credibility of self-declaration is not much compared with the rest of the claim. The second party approach also can have, which is if the interested parties, they need to see, okay, now for example, the event management team is there, the event management organization, but the interested parties assume that the Formula One organizers. So they are the second party to make their event environment friendly, or to certify or get the recognition in line with that. So that can be a kind of a second party verification in that case. The third party verification, as what the Ceycerts do, they are accredited to perform third party verification of certain things. Likewise, the accredited certification bodies can engage to do independent review on the system and to raise non-conformities observation if it is there, if there are any discrepancies according in line with the standard and the real practice. So then the organization can correct them, and then they can get the recognition. So that is the most credible recognized claim. Yes, if you are thinking of moving forward with this event management standards, yes, you need to go through. However, the beauty of this standard is, if somebody is familiar with the implementation of other management system standard, and if you are familiar with the Annex Excel structure, and it's similar to 14,001, the context analysis is also similar. but the complexity is somewhat different than the other thing. So you can go ahead with that. Some of the additional information as we have almost finished with the given time. If you are interested on this area of ISO standard, I need to highlight that you can go through this the ISO, and you can search ISO technical committees. And I need to highlight that at the moment, very recently, in ISO system, this is actually an international standard organization. The head office is at Geneva, and in Sri Lanka, the ISO, they have focal points on the from most of the nations. Sri Lanka, we have Sri Lanka Standard Institute. They are the focal point for ISO. And standards development is with the collective effort from expertise, sometimes thousands to 10,000 expertise are engaging in developing one particular standard. Given to develop this ISO 20121, yes, engagement of large number of expertise from different countries, and finally they have to get the approval concept from majority of countries to issue as a standard. Now, what I need to highlight here is the dedicated technical, and this, if you look at the ISO structure, there are, you can see this actually, I have taken the screenshot today. ISO technical committee, now they have the number 356 technical committees, but however, some of the technical committees task been over, therefore they are, might not be inactive. But however, very recently, 3,354 ISO technical committee 354 is working with event sustainability management and other aspects. So previously, actually, there's a technical committee on service sector, tourism, and other thing, but they have taken this thing out, because the ISO, what they do is they identify the trends and they try to harmonize the different approaches and to give more commonality for that. That's why it's an international accepted as international standard. If you identify the trends, if they identify the trends and they try to come up with the internationally accepted standard, therefore they are started working on developing standards related to that event sustainability. That's again one of the highlight, that to understand this is the sustainable event management is an emerging trend. However, when you look at the sustainable event management under the standard, they have mentioned a long list of other standards. Even if you look at the 50,001 energy management system, the guidelines are required sometimes when we manage event in a sustainable way. If you can get the guidelines, and you can get the certification for an event under energy management system, then you can, if you are thinking of, however, it has to be a multiple approach. You cannot isolate one impact category to get the management, the event management, sustainable event management certification, if you are going to go with third-party recognition. But however, self-declaration you can come up with, but however, according to the standard, the scope should be the covering the multiple approaches, multiple impact categories, and also looking at the scope of work line with all the steps of or the life cycle of event management. Now, if you take a water footprint, 46 standard is for water footprint management system, or sorry, to quantify water footprint impact. You can use that standard to understand the impact and to develop the system to make the event environment friendly. So likewise, GHG and even the footprint evaluation, there are a long list of standard, and even the 14,001 can be a base standard, or even the quality management system, occupational health and safety. Likewise, you can have all the standard component, and so this is the structure. And if you look at the main component, interested parties engagement to development of the policy and the review process maintenance. So those are somewhat similar to the 14,001 and other management system standard. So these are the main areas that I need to highlight. And there are a few other slides, actually, I think we have covered. Yes, for the claim, the final word is not an endpoint. It is a commitment to ensuring every event leaves the environment, the local economy, and the host community stronger than before. So that should be the outcome of the implementation of or the use of this standard, or the sustainable event management standard. So as I mentioned previously, you can go with the first party, that means the self-declared, following the standard, second party, and we can go with the third party independent verification by formal certification bodies as Ceycert. Okay, with that, thank you very much. I'll wind up my discussion. If we have time, organizers, we can respond to few questions, or later on we can provide some of the written responses, because as we have received more than 300 questions, some are similar, but I think most of the areas that I have covered during superficially, this is actually not the training on ISO 20121. Yes, probably if you're interested, you can discuss with the organizers, and you can have a proper training on the implementation of this 20121 standard. However, as a final word, I must highlight that why we have focus on this ISO. As I mentioned, ISO standard developed at the maturity of level of the concept. Even now, ISO is developing carbon neutrality, or the carbon neutral organization, after came up with very many other standards. That's the normal procedure. So ISO is waiting to understand the trends and to make more internationally accepted standard. That's why we have taken this ISO standard. But however, if you look at the main principles are similar to the similar standards or the guidelines developed to support managing event more sustainable way. Okay, thank you very much. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for the insightful presentation. So we will now move on to the Q&A session where if you have any questions, please feel free to ask from the speaker. We encourage everyone to take this opportunity to clarify your doubts and gain further insights on sustainable event management. If you have any questions now, you can ask from the speaker. Participants? So I think they have no questions. And okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
excellent. It's excellent. Huh? Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's excellence.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And
What we can do is actually, I'm really interested because these are some of the new areas, emerging areas. Probably we can come up with the responses sheet to share with them. So I'm just opening.
so I think your questions are all clarified now. So
Yeah, it seems, yes. So we can wind up the session. So these are the long list of questions. We tried our best to give some of the insights. We know that this is a kind of a very superficial explanation on certain things. Yes, if we don't have
questions, we can wind up the session. Yes.
yeah.
I want to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Wahala for his insightful and comprehensive session on sustainable event management, and his massive knowledge and expertise provided valuable insights for the participants across the industries. Again, thank you very much, sir, for your invaluable contribution and commitment. I hope all your questions and clarifications have been addressed as need. Thank you again, sir, for your invaluable contribution and commitment. And also a big thank you to all who actively participated by asking insightful questions. As we draw close to the end of the online training session, so I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all the respectable attendees for your active participation and valuable contribution, making this webinar a vibrant pool of knowledge and experience. Kindly take a moment to share your thoughts and insight by filling out our feedback form now. We appreciate your time and contribution to our ongoing commitment to excellence. Now you can fill out the Google form, the feedback form. We have put it into the Zoom chat box. So you have to fill it out to receive the e-certificate. We will wait 2-3 minutes. Now you can fill it. So before we wrap up, we would like to capture this moment. So now we request you to please turn on your cameras and join with us to make this session more memorable. So I will take the screenshot after the countdown. Please be ready. So please turn on your cameras. One, two, three. Wait a minute. Shall we take it again? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Thank you. I would like to extend our gratitude and to our resource person, Dr. Wahala, again, and all our participants for helping us making this session a success. Thank you and have a good day.